If you're a design agency, a freelancer, or someone that wants to build their own community that they have full control over, you are going to love this video because I'm going to be showing you how to create a community on WordPress. So let me show you why it's important to create a community. So when you take a look here, you can see we have this company called Circle.so. They just concentrate on creating community websites. So here you can see there's quite a lot of people that use this, Ali Abdaal, Harvard University, and so on. And if you take a closer look at this, you'll find that it is not too far off from what I'm going to be showing you today. So when you scroll down, you can see here all the features, all the advantages, and all the people that are using it. Perhaps some of you may recognize some of these people here. Now, there's also another platform, but before we go there, I just want to talk about the pricing. And take a note of this pricing, okay? So if I come over here to pricing, you'll see that in order for you to have a community on this platform, it's going to cost you $199 per month if you go for the business option. But if you go for the professional, it's $89 per month. Now let's take a look at Skool. I'm sure some of you have heard this. This is a platform for creating communities, and a lot of people are creating communities based on their expertise or based on their content that they're creating online. So you can see here, Synthesizer, for example, 38,000 members, right? And these also, charge, right? You can see this one here is 260 and it's 25,000 members. This is really amazing. So this is about transformation. He talks about bodybuilding, how to fitness and all that kind of stuff, right? So you can see all there. This is the information. And when you click on join, you actually pay to have access to this gentleman. So again, you may be asking, how much is it? Well, to have a community on that platform, it's going to cost you $99 per month. But I have a community that I've created using the techniques that I'll be sharing with you in this tutorial. So over here, I have Divi University. I'm sure some of you that follow me know that I have the community for website designers using Divi. So here I have more than 3,000. Look at that. A total of 3,091 members. But you see, I don't just have a community here. I also have courses. So if you come over here, you'll see that I have my Divi Mastery course 2 here. It has 1,244 students. So it is a fully fledged community. Plus, I also have my courses on here. Very powerful. This is what I'm going to be showing you how to create every day. Now, if you're a design agency or a freelancer, you may be asking, so why is it important for me to, learn how to do this? Well, imagine if you can approach communities. I'm talking about churches, mosques, tennis clubs, yoga communities. All these people want communities, but it's very expensive, as you can see, to create them. But we can do this on WordPress, where we have full control. In fact, let me show you the website that we will be building today. So this is the example. It's a basic landing page. Again, this is all done on WordPress. This is our intro video to what our community is about. And here are some of the benefits, right? So I'm going to show you how to connect this to a payment system, because that's one of the most important things. So if I click here to join the community, it is going to take you to the payment page. So now they can go ahead and pay $97. Now you can decide whether they have to pay monthly or yearly or whatever it is, it's up to you. And this community, it works. It's very simple to set up. You can see here, I've created this filmmaking community as our example. I also have the Filmmaker Pro. This is also an example of a course that I have here. So if you go in here, you can actually see that we have a course, and I show you how to actually do this. And you can see the button here is ready for enrollment. So I show you how to set all this up. But you may be saying, well, but you know what, Mac? One of the biggest challenges in having a community website is to have everything automated, because surely you don't want to go in there and do things manually. Now, there is a feature which is so powerful. And again, I'll show you how to implement this. Let's come over here to community. And on the bottom here, we have these settings, right? So if you go to access management, you're going to notice that I'm able to guarantee access to anyone that joins the community or purchases my access to my community. just by mapping them to a tag. Now check this out. Filmmaking community, if I map this to the tag, and I've already created the tags, by the way. So this one here is for free members. Okay. I'm going to say sync, and then over here, I'm going to go for Film Pro, and then I'm going to sync as well. Now, just by doing that and activating create a user in WordPress, when you apply a configured tag, this is very powerful. Your members now are going to be able to automatically join the communities without you pressing a button. Just by this automation here. And I show you all of that and more in this tutorial. So have a cup of tea and watch me as I show you how to create a community website on WordPress. And this community website, you have full control, and you can do this for companies, you can do this for organizations, and so on. Let's get started. So before we start building our website, the most important thing is to have solid hosting. I mean, this is a community website that we're building. The last thing you want is to have a website that goes down or has performance issues while you have hundreds of members on your website. So the hosting company that I recommend is Hostinger. I mean, this is so solid, it's powerful, and it is also affordable. And if you use my affiliate link, which I'll include in the video description below, you are going to get about 85% off. So which plan should you go with? Well, the one I recommend here is the one in the middle, which is this one right here. Now, the reason why is I know when you start designing your websites with WordPress, you're going to be so excited. You're going to probably build a lot more websites as compared to the 3 that you get over here at $1.99 per month. So this one here has more storage, it has more websites, and it has a lot more features. And the most important one is the backups. I mean, the last thing you want is having a website that has so many members, and when something goes wrong, you lose all your data. I mean, can you imagine just starting from scratch? It's impossible. So Hostinger has a lot of features, and the most important is it is blazing fast. So let me show you how to go through the whole process of signing up. So what you want to do here is to click on choose plan. So the next step now is to start adding all your information. But before you do that, over here, you have the period that you want to choose for how many months you want to sign up for. So by default, it's at 48 months. Okay. And you can see right away here, you are saving 576 pounds. Right. And I know it's pounds here. That is because I'm in the UK. That's why it's showing this. But if you are in the US, it will show you the actual US dollar price. Now, over here, you are able to choose how many months you want to go with. So let's say, for example, you want to go with 24 months. If you select that, of course, the amount goes down here, and it also tells you how much you are saving by signing up for the 24 months. So over here, you can also go down to 12. Now, I wouldn't recommend that you go down less than 12 months. The reason being, if you're going to have your website just for a month, it's not going to work. I mean, all that effort you're going to put into designing this website only for a month, nah, I don't think it's worth it. So the minimum you want to go with here is 12 months, okay? And then obviously there's a month here, so 12 months. But ideally, you want to go with 24 months. That way you know that your hosting is sorted. And as you can see here, the pricing is not too bad. From 443, right, you are down to 107. So you're saving a lot of money on your hosting. So let's say your hosting is done. You're pretty much happy. What you need to do now is to go ahead and click on continue. So this step here, again, it's very, very easy to get up and running with this super fast. You enter your first name here, you enter your last name, and then your country of residence. So for example, I'm in the UK, so I'm just going to say United. Oh, there we go. United Kingdom. All right. And then I can add my phone number in here, the address. And if you have any company details, this is where you add your company details. In fact, you know what? Let's just go ahead and fill this in so you can at least see how easy it is. Okay, my phone number here, 079152 Okay, address. Oh, I think I need to remove the 0 here. Let's see, 152601. That should be fine. What happened here? Oh, okay. So here is where you need to add the address. So you enter your address, 112 Zelig Building. Okay, so we've entered all our information here. The next step is to go to the payment details. Now, if you have a company, you can always go in here and add your company name and the VAT registration. Okay, so in my case, I'm just going to go in and click and continue. All right, so over here, you have so many options to pay for your hosting. I mean, as you can see, there's PayPal, Google Pay, Apple Pay, Amazon Pay. I mean, pretty much everyone is covered here. But the default one is where you come over here and enter your card details. And then once you submit your payment, you're going to get an email with confirmation, and you're also going to get a username and password to your control panel for your hosting account, which is right here. So in my case, you can see I have my own control panel here. So this is where I get to see everything that is happening on my hosting account. So why not start right away by creating a brand new website. So of course, when you log in, you're going to be over here on the home, and this is pretty much a quick dashboard to show you where everything is. So far I have these 2 temporary domains, but the cool thing is you can also claim your free domain, and this comes in with your hosting. So if you want to register a domain name, you can get it for free over here at Hostinger. And this is really, really cool. So claiming your domain is very easy. You just click here on claim domain, you enter the name here, and then you do the availability check. And then once you do the availability check, if it's available, you can go ahead and purchase it. Now here we also have extensions. So we have your .com, your .fun, .icu, .net, and so on. You can see the list here is long. All right, so now that we've covered all that, let's go ahead and set up our WordPress website, because we're doing all this on WordPress, because WordPress is very flexible. And the most important thing is you own all your data. And this is super, super important. All right, so we're going to come over here to websites. Okay. And this is where you get your list of websites. So I'm going to say add website. So it's going to ask me a few things here. So I want a WordPress website. So I'm going to select this option. Right. So now it's going to ask me a few things. So here I'm going to need my WordPress admin password. Now this is very, very important, because this is the password that you're going to need to log into WordPress. Okay, not your Hostinger account, but WordPress, your actual WordPress website. So here I'm just going to add a basic password like that, and just to make sure that it includes 8 to 50 characters and so on. Right, so now that I have my email address and password, I'm going to click over here, next. All right, so it's asking me for a domain name, but I don't have a domain name yet. Or at least I don't want to think about that right now. I just want to go ahead, build my website, and once I am happy with my website, I'll worry about the domain and then connect it later. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and click on use temporary domain. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. Now, what's going to happen now is it is going to go ahead and install WordPress, and this will take a few minutes. But once that is done, we are going to have a fully functioning WordPress website, and that's really, really cool. So I'm going to pause the video here for a bit while this is happening, and then we can continue on from there. Okay. So our website has installed, and as you can see here, pretty much we are good to go. So there's a few things that you need to be aware of. There's a few options. It's saying create a website with AI or pre-built websites and themes. So we don't want that, okay? Because we are going to build our website from scratch. So I'm going to say go to, okay? So it skips everything. And now I am in my WordPress website, which has this temporary domain, okay? So this temporary domain is what Hostinger has given us. All right, so now that we're here, what I usually do is I go to the plugins, okay, and I go to installed plugins, and I just disable all this for now, okay, because I don't want everything, cluttered on my website. So I deactivate, click on apply. So now I've just deactivated everything. So if I go to my dashboard now, it still has a few things going on, but I can still go in and clean up. So this is what I usually do. I come over here to screen options, get rid of all these notices and tabs, right? Just to keep my installation very, very clean. So at this stage, if we take a look at our website, and I'm going to open this in a new tab, you're going to notice that we have a basic WordPress website, but this is not ready for production. We cannot build our website on what we are seeing right now. So ideally, what we need to do is to install a page builder. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know I use Divi. Of course, there's so many page builders out there. There's Elementor, there's Etch, there's Bricks. I mean, there's loads. But the one I go with is Divi. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to head over here to, in fact, let's just close this, right? Let's head over to Elegant Themes. So they have a new page builder, which is very, very capable. And as you can see here, there's 974 websites running Divi, right? This is quite interesting. Anyway, let's download Divi. I'm going to come over here and then click on login. Now, in your case, if you haven't purchased it, you need to purchase Divi. And let me just show you the pricing. Okay, let's open this on a new tab. Now, of course, if you're brand new to designing websites with Divi, you can see here that they have a yearly plan, which works out to about $23 per month. Yeah, and then yearly it's 277. Okay, so this is for Divi Pro, right? But usually when I go with these softwares, I like just going for the lifetime. Okay, I don't like messing around. I want to pay once and then I get all my updates forever, right? So for this very first one, you can see here for 297 with the Pro, you get to pay only once. Okay, one payment, and you'll be saving 751 because Pro comes with Divi Dash, Divi Cloud, Divi VIP, and so on. But if you want to go on with just vanilla page builder, you can go ahead and purchase this one time at 249. You have unlimited websites, and you also have Divi Dash, which is fantastic. But the cool thing here is there's no limits to how many websites you can build, unlike other page builders, because they limit you to how many websites you can build. And some of them don't even have the lifetime membership on them. So this one here is actually a very, very good option. All right, so now that we've covered the pricing here, let's head over and I need to enter my two-factor authentication here. All right, so that's my two-factor authentication. For me, this is just for extra security. I'm gonna go ahead now and click on login, and here we go. So the one you wanna go with, which is the latest one, is Divi 5, okay? So make sure you click here to download Divi 5, and as you can see, it has been downloaded, and I can see it over here, right here on the top of my screen here. All right, so now that it's downloaded, let's head over to our website that we've just built from Hostinger, and we are going to go to Appearance and then click on Themes. Right, this is where we are going to add our Divi page builder. So I'm going to click on Add Theme, Upload Theme. And then I'm going to say choose file, and my file now is going to be in the downloads. So I'm going to come over here to downloads, and here it is, divi5.zip. Okay, so hang on. Oh, there we go. I'm going to double click on that, and then I'm going to click on install now. And again, installation of Divi 5 is very, very easy. You know, the steps are, pretty straightforward. Now let's go ahead and click on activate. Okay, so we're going to activate Divi 5 now. There we go. So now that we've activated Divi 5, I know it's going to ask us to log in for our license. We can actually use Divi without entering our license yet. Okay. So I don't want to waste time, entering the licenses and so on and so forth. Let's dive in and let's move on to the next part, which is creating our pages. So I'm going to come over here to pages. Okay. And then I'm going to say add page. Right. So this is where we're going to add our home page, which is a very, very important page. So I'm going to go in there and just type in home, use Divi Builder, and then I'm going to come over here and say save. All right. So now, and I'm sharing with you the latest techniques here to build your websites fast and in a really, really exciting way. Okay. So over here now, instead of going back to the WordPress admin dashboard and adding our pages from there, we don't need to do that. I'm going to come over here now to our page manager and then click on our page manager, and then on the bottom here, okay, on the bottom here is where we need to click on add new. So this is where we're going to add our page, and now my next page is going to be the about us page, and this page is very, very important for our community website. So I want this page published, but of course, if you don't want to publish it, you can set it to scheduled or draft, but I want it published. Okay, I'm going to say add page. Okay, the next page I'm going to need here is, in fact, let's click add new. The next page I'm going to need is the contact page. So I'm going to say contact us, just in case, or in fact, we can just call it support. How about that? Okay, we're going to call it support. I'm going to say add. The other page we're going to need is the dashboard. Okay, so let's go ahead and add that. So I'm going to call this dashboard like that. Click on add page. Now, if there's other pages that I need to add, we can always add them later on. Not a problem at all. So I think for now, I'm okay. In fact, we might even need to add a pricing page for our membership or join the membership. Okay, let's have join, since this is a membership community. So I'm going to say join today. How about that? Add page. Excellent. So now we have a couple of pages. If you want to see our pages, you can just click over here on this little icon, and these are our pages. I can just drag them in the order that I want. And where's our support? Okay, there we go. There's our support. And as I'm looking at this, I know we're going to need a login page. Okay, that's very important. So let's come over here to the bottom, click on add new, and we're going to say login, because we need a way for our users to log into the website. So I'm going to say add page. Right. So we're going to log in, support, about, dashboard. Excellent. So now that we have this, we now need to create our menu. But you're probably asking, but Mac, why do you need to create a menu? Now, let me show you why. Because a moment ago, when we had Divi, when we had WordPress installed, it was just a blank, WordPress site. So now, if I were to go in here and say preview on front end, you'll notice that, okay, the design has changed, right? Compared to what we had before. But our menu here does not have the right links, and it has this uncategorized. We don't want that. And we also want that our home page needs to be the page that is the default when people log onto our website. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in to the dashboard of our WordPress website, and then we're going to come over here to appearance, and then we're going to go to menus. Right, so over here, we're going to name our menu. So I'm just going to call this main menu like that. And then I'm going to assign this main menu to the primary menu and then say create. Okay, so now that our menu has been created, this is where I need to come in and add all my pages to the menu. So I'm going to say view all, so I can see right away that I have quite a few pages here. So I'm going to say select, 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 select. And then I'm going to say add to menu. Now I'll be able to readjust these. So for example, the dashboard, I don't want that to be on the front. No, should it be? Okay, let's leave it like that. Okay, so join today. I'm going to leave that as it is. And in fact, let's remove this. Okay, let's remove this from here, from the menu. So we have our login. That's going to be our last link, and support. So this is the order that I want my pages. All right, so I'm going to say save menu. The next thing we're going to do now is to do a quick preview and see if this has worked. And sure enough, we have our home, about us, dashboard, support, and login. But our default page here is this hello world, which is a blog, and we don't want that. We want that our home page is set to the home page. So not the blog page. So we're going to come over here to settings and then go to reading. Now we need to set our static page. Okay, this is where we are now. We need to set a static page. Currently it's set to your blog post, and we don't want that. So I'm going to say static page, and then over here on the home page, I need to assign the home page. So I'm going to click on this drop down, and something is wrong here. I can't see the home page, which is weird. Okay, no problem. So what we're going to do is go back to our pages here, and oh, you know why it's not showing? It's because it is set to draft. Do you see that? It's set to draft. That is why it's not showing. And this is very, very important here, because if it's set on draft, it will not show up. So let's go ahead and fix that. I'm going to say edit with Divi, and then I'm going to come over here to this top right. Okay, this is where I am. I'm going to say save and publish. Okay, now that removes it from the draft. So now if I go back to my dashboard and go to appearance, what do I need to do? Menus. No. We need to go to settings, reading, because that's where we set our static page. So I'm going to come over here to static, click on the drop down, and now we see it. So now it's saying home. Excellent. So I'm going to select it. Oops. Select that, save changes. And now if I preview this page, so I'm going to come over here and preview on front end, you'll see that this is now on home. This is now my home page. So if I start designing this page, this is what people are going to land on when they come to my website, which is brilliant. All right. So now that we've put all these things together, we are pretty now close to stylizing our website and making sure that things are looking great as we start designing our website. So the first thing that we may need to be thinking about here is, okay, what colors are going to be on our website? So the tool that I use is called Coolers. Okay, so I'm going to go in here and start the generator. So you need to have a color in your head that's going to be like your main brand color. So for me, I know I'm going to need some sort of a blue, okay, for my membership website. So let me lock this and see what else can come up. So I'm pressing the space bar as we speak, and this is AI. It's going to generate my colors. And let's see, cyan blue. Should I go with that one? All right. So I think I need a darker shade of this. I'm going to go in and see where this dot is where the color is. So I'm going to go with something like that. Okay. So with this one here, I'm just going to get rid of that. And then I'm going to add my key. Now I also need a color that works well with this color right here, which I've just locked. Okay. So I'm going to start pressing the space bar, and I'm just going to take a look and see what can work as my secondary color. Okay. We have this yellow green. I'm not sure about that. And I also have this tomato jam. Can this be my call to action? Okay. So, and by the way, I'm doing this in real time. So I know you may find this annoying that I haven't chosen the colors ahead of time. But of course, this is what happens when we design. So I want to go with this banana cream, but I'm going to go with a darker shade. So let's try something like this. Okay. Yeah. And then I'm just going to make one more tweak here. Let's make this a bit darker. All right. So I'm going to go with these two colors here. So what I need to do now is to assign my colors into Divi. Now, a lot of designers miss this step, and they design the old way, like how they used to design in Divi 4. So the color here is the most important. We need to set our colors first before we even do anything. So I'm going to come over here now and copy the hex by clicking here. Okay. So if you haven't seen where I clicked, oops, this is where I'm clicking. I'm going to click here to copy the hex. And then over here on my site now, I'm going to go to my dashboard and then choose any page at all. So I'm going to go to my list of all pages, and I want to do this on my home page. Okay. So I'm going to say edit with Divi, and where we need to add our colors is over here by the variable manager right here in the top. Okay. Variable manager is where we need to go in. And then we need to come over here to colors. And by default, you can see we have these colors, right? So I'm going to go in and remove that and enter the hexadecimal value that I got from the other website. So I'm going to paste that and hit enter. Next, I'm going to choose the second color, which is this one here. I'm going to copy that, come back over here, and this is going to be my secondary color, and paste that, hit enter. Now we also have our heading color. So what you usually need to do here for your heading color, just go for a really dark shade of your main color here. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to go with, let's go with something like this as my heading color. So I'm going to copy that. In fact, you know what? This is a bit too dark. Let's go with this one here. Okay. So I'm going to copy the hexadecimal value, and then over here, I'm going to paste it, hit enter. And then we have our body text color. Now, I'm not too bothered with this one here because it's just a gray. All right. And then we also have our link color. So our link color here is going to be secondary color because that's our call to action color. Okay. I'm going to paste that, hit enter. And I think our colors are all set. Now I'm going to go ahead and save and apply. The next thing I also need to make sure is set ahead of time before I even start designing is fonts. So I'm going to come over here. By default, we have Open Sans. Now, I don't like Open Sans as my default. So I'm going to click on this drop down and I am going to choose my font, and it's going to be Poppins. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select that as my heading. And then for my body, I'm going to use a font called Inter. Save variables, apply changes. Okay, so now that we've added those two things, the text and the colors. If I refresh this, we should be able to see the changes. And sure enough, things have changed here. I can see my headings have changed and so on. Fantastic. The next thing we need to do is to set our width for our website. This is very, very important. So first of all, I'm just going to save this and then I'm going to exit. So to set our width, we need to come over here to appearance and then click on themes. Next, we want to make sure we choose our theme. So I'm going to go to customize and then we're going to go to general settings, layout settings. And by default, you can see it's set to 1080. We want now our size here to be set to 1280. Okay, it's a much better size. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, gutter width, the default one, I'm going to set this to 2. Okay, and then pretty much that's all I need to do. Next, I need to hit publish. Okay, so now that my site is published, pretty much we are close to designing our website. I know we've covered a lot here, and if you feel like I'm really going too fast, you just need to watch this a few times, because these steps are very, very important in achieving a professional looking website. Remember, we're building this website for our own communities, and perhaps you're a freelancer and you want to design this for a client. So these steps need to be done in order to make sure that you are consistent. Okay, so the next thing we need to do now is to add some plugins that are really, really important for us to get up and running really fast. So I'm going to come over here now to my monitor so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to go to plugins. Okay, so here, the first plugin we're going to add is going to be a plugin that handles the redirection of when someone logs in, where do they go to? It's also going to handle all the security as well. And it's a free plugin, by the way. All right, so I'm going to say add plugin. Okay, so the first plugin I'm going to add here, it's called Fluent Auth. I hit enter and there it is. And as you can see, it's on about 10,000 websites here. I'm going to click on install. Okay. Now, while we are here, we want to build a community website on WordPress, don't we? You can see here we have Fluent Community. We might as well install it. So we're going to go ahead and install. Excellent. So we're just now going to say activate, and then we're going to look for the other one. Where is it? Okay. Fluent Community, activate. Okay. So now we have two plugins, the Fluent Community, and we also have the Fluent Auth. Right. So let's head over now to the Fluent Auth plugin. So we can find it over here, or it's also over here on the side panel. Okay, so I'm going to click here on Fluent Auth. So here we have our dashboard. Now this plugin is so powerful that, I mean, for my website, it has done a lot to protect my website. Anyway, so the very first thing we need to do is decide where people are going to go when they log onto the website. So remember, we set a dashboard page. So I'm going to come over here to redirects and I'm going to say enable, right? So we want that a default login redirect URL. Okay, where should the people go after they have logged in? So I'm just going to open this in a new tab, right? And remember, I did not set my link to my dashboard. So I'm just going to come over here because that's where I want people to go when they log in. So I'm going to copy this URL. Okay. And I'm going to say default login URL is this one. So as soon as people log in, I want them to go to the dashboard because that's where they're going to get more information on where they need to go. All right. So I'm going to say save settings. Excellent. So now that I've saved my dashboard, we are good to go. What else can I say? Can I set over here? Let's go to settings. So I'm going to apply the recommended settings here. So these are all to do with security. If someone tries to log on to the website more than 5 times, they get disabled for 30 minutes. This is very, very good because sometimes you are going to get these bots. They try to brute force your website, automatically try to guess your password. And this is how they log in and you can end up getting hacked. Okay. So there's also more features here. You can enable magic login. So a URL can be sent via email. I'm sure you've seen this a few times. or you can enable two-factor authentication via email. That's also something that you can add since this is a membership website. Okay, and over here now it says disable admin bar and WP admin access for subscribers. Anyway, that's very, very important. All right, so let's hit save. So over here, the login form is also very, very important because at the moment, if we go to our website, and I'm going to open this in incognito mode, okay? So I'm going to copy this like that. And then over here, I'm going to say new incognito window so you can see what I mean. So if I were to try and log on to my website, this is the login page that I see. And this is not really, really nice. It's not branded. So what this plugin does is it makes our login page look much nicer. So I'm going to say enable customized modern login sign up page. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say open. Now, this is what it looks like. We also get a few basic ways to go in and customize it. So over here, you can add a banner. So for our logo, we can upload our logo and our welcome. And let's say welcome to Mac membership. In fact, let's call this Filming Pro. All right, over here, you can add a description if you want to, but as you can see here, I've just named it Welcome to Filming Pro. This is where you enter your information. If you have a logo, you enter it over here. If you want to upload an image, you can upload it over here. So let's see if I have any images. I think I do. I'm going to open this one here. There we go. Now look at that. Already this is looking very, very exciting. Now, if you feel that this is getting in the way, you can always remove it completely over here. Okay, if you want to. And of course, you can leave it on and change the title color to match with whatever it is you're entering here. So if I go again and say welcome to Filming Pro, like that, you can see now it's much easier to read on a slightly dark background. So it's up to you if you want to have it that way. I wish we could have more settings to adjust our font size, but anyway, you know what? This is way better compared to what we had before. So now I can just say save changes and just click on back. All right, so you're probably wondering, okay, so what happened to our login page that we had a moment ago? And this is what it looks like. If I refresh now, look at that. This looks way more professional. Now, these things I'm suggesting is exactly what I'm using on Divi University, okay? So on Divi University, I have something very, very similar. So I know you may be thinking, well, is Mac really telling the truth? Well, let's do it. WP admin. Boom, there we go. So you see, my one is here is basic. All I have is welcome to Divi University, blah, blah, blah. But this is pretty much the same thing. If I wanted to add an image here, I would add an image, but I just want to have a blank, solid color. All right, so now that we've set this up, the question now is, when are we going to go in and design our main homepage? Because of course, designing the homepage is very, very important, because this is where people are going to come in and see what the membership website is all about. And by the way, this membership website is a membership website for anyone that wants to go into filmmaking. Okay, it's a filmmaking membership website. All right, before we build our homepage, let's take a look and see what really makes a community landing page very effective. So here we have, quite a few of these community. In fact, there's quite a lot of these communities. So you can see here that there's quite a lot. And let's just take this one here, for example. I'm going to click on this one and see. So here we have just the main banner. There's also some videos here, and then the description of what this community is about, and then the join now. Okay, let's take a look at another one. So in this case, let's go and take a look at this one. Okay, so as you can see, this one here has a video.
Peculiar place to have a party.
Okay, so this one here has a video, and then it also talks about the community, what the community is about, and then it also has the join now. So we need to design ours with this idea in mind. So what we're going to do is to start off with the homepage now, and then see how it goes. And by the way, we're designing this community for, let's say, filmmakers or wannabe filmmakers. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to head over to pages, all pages. So the page we want to work on is the home page. So let's go ahead and say edit with Divi. The next thing we're going to do is to add a single column. And in this column, we're going to add some text, and okay, let's remove some of this text like that. And then after that, we also need a heading. So let's go ahead and add a heading. And then I think after this, we're going to need a video that then, oh, in fact, after the heading, why don't we have a call to action there? But the way we're going to add this, in fact, let's first of all center all of this, okay? Because we're going to need this all centered. So I'm going to select here on module settings. Then I'm going to come over here to design, heading texts, and I want to make sure it's centered. And you can see here it's set to heading 1. The next thing I'm going to do is to come over here to this text, and then I'm going to center it over here. Now I'm going to have 2 buttons side by side. So I'm going to go in and choose my my group module. And then in this group, we are going to add a button like that. And then we're just going to duplicate this button. And then we're going to come over to this group, go into design, layout, and then we're going to make sure that our flex box here is set to row. So now you can see everything is side by side. And then the final thing we need to do here is to center everything. Okay, so we're going to go in and replace this text in a moment. So what we need after this is a video. So I'm going to go in, choose my column, and then I'm going to add a video like that. Okay. So I have my main title here, my description, my buttons, and then my video. Okay. So after this, I'm going to add another section. Okay. So this section here is going to have, let's say, a heading, right? And then after that heading, let's go in and add a few more elements in here. So I'm going to click here on this plus button. We're going to add some blurbs. So here we go. In fact, before I do that, how about add a group? Because if I add all these in a group, it's much easier to maintain them. So I'm going to go in, add my blurb. Okay. So for the background color of this, I'm going to add it later on. So far we have just the bare bones of our design here. But as you can see, this size here is the size of my heading. And this size is in pixels. So if you want to design professionally websites that are scalable, websites that are easy to maintain, we are going to need a design system. Okay, there is no way out of this. You're going to need a design system. This is how professionals do it. And this is how we are supposed to be designing our website. So what I'm going to do here is to show you what a design system has and why it is very, very important. So if we take a look here, I have my design system called SiteKrafter Pro. This design system is specifically for Divi 5. Okay. So it just makes the designing of websites super, super easy. You're going to have all these texts which are dynamic, which means we're going to save a lot of time in going in and making sure that everything has different sizes on the different screen sizes. Our color system is already there. Our spacing system is going to be the design system. So pretty much everything that we need is going to be in place, including all our modules, you see? So let's go ahead and add our design system. Now, for those of you that are saying, but Mac, why do we need to buy something else for this to work? Well, I'm going to make things very easy for you. If you purchase hosting or the plugins that we're going to use for the community, I'm going to give you this design system for free. Okay. All you have to do is to purchase the design system using my affiliate link, and then you send me an email with your receipt saying that you've purchased the hosting or the community plugins. And then once you've done that, I'll give you access to the design system. So I've already gone ahead and downloaded my design system. So I'm going to save what I've done so far, and then I'm going to install this design system. So I'm going to come over here to the dashboard. I'm going to go into Divi, and then I'm going to go to the library. Okay, because this is where we're going to install this. So what I need to do next is to locate my design system. So I think it's in my downloads folder. Okay, so it's in my downloads folder here. So what I need to do is to install it. So first of all, let me just find where it is in my downloads. So here it is. The first thing I'm going to do is to unzip this file. So I'm going to double click, and now we have a folder. I'm going to double click into that folder, and there's 3 files here that we have. So what we're going to do first is to install all these 3 files because they are very, very important. Okay, so this here, the first one is the actual design system. This one here is the starter template, because if we take a look at our website, it doesn't have a header and a footer over here. So we are going to fix that. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to install the design system. So you want to go to Divi, and then you want to come over here to the library. Okay, so now we're going to say import export, and then we're going to click on import. So the file we need now is this one right here, the first one. So I'm going to drag and drop it in here, and then I'm going to say import presets and then import. Now notice that this file here is the design system. Okay, so I'm going to import. Excellent. So now that this is installed, the next file we're going to need is the starter template. So if I come over here to theme builder, you're going to notice that there's nothing here. We don't have a header, we don't have a footer. All we have is the default header and footer, which is not good enough for our website, right? It's not good enough. So let's go into our website here. There we go. So this header and footer is not good enough. We need a proper header. So what I'm going to do now is, remember, we have a few files that we downloaded. So the next file I need to add in here is the starter template, which is the second one. Okay. So to install the starter templates, we're going to come over here to Divi theme builder. This is where we are. And then over here to the top, we want to click on these 2 arrows here. Okay, this is the portability. So if I click on that, you're going to get this pop up. So what we need to do is to make sure that import is selected. And then we want to import the presets as well. And then I'm just going to drag and drop the file over here. And the file I'm dragging and dropping is this one, which is the second one. Okay, it says starter template. All right, so now I'm going to say import, and in a moment you're going to see that I'm now going to have all these templates. So all I have to do now is save. So I have my 404 page, blog, dashboard. All right, so we have our dashboard here, and pretty much everything we need is in place. So what I'm going to do now is to refresh this page so you can see that the footer and the header is now sorted. I'm going to refresh that. And just like that, you can see that our header here has changed. We also have our call to action. And if I scroll to the bottom here, you can see that our footer now has changed. So when we go to our dashboard page, you see that there's nothing on the dashboard. So ideally, we need to adjust this page, or in fact, we don't need to adjust it. We just need to assign the dashboard template here to the dashboard. So I'm going to come over here to this gear icon, and then I'm going to say use on. Right, now take a note of this. If I go to the dashboard and click on this gear icon, where it says use on, I need to use this on a specific page, and the page is dashboard. And then I'm going to say save pages. Now I want you to see what happens when I refresh. Now we have a welcome page, which has a dashboard. So at this stage now, you can go in and change this to pretty much whatever you want. So it doesn't have to say pages. You can say community or whatever it is. But we are going to come back to this page at a later stage. But this has already taken our design to the next level, which is fantastic. Okay, great. So now that we have all this, let's go to the home page and let me show you what needs to be done there. So I am going to visit site, and here we are. So the first thing I need to do is to click on edit. And now that I've installed my design system, I can click now on this paragraph text, and I'm going to come over here to the top, and you can see I have all these presets ready for me, right? Look at that. Isn't that amazing? So I'm going to set this as a label. Okay, so you can see it says text goes here. I mean, I need to go in and just make sure that it's centered. So I'm going to come over here to text and sizing, then alignment. Okay, so now my text is centered. This here is a heading. I want this to be nice and big. So I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to come over here to heading, and I'm going to set this to display small. Okay, so it's nice and bold. Okay, and I'm going to give this a title as well. Okay, so this is my text so far, and I'm just going to change this text that says content goes here to that. And I think I may want to make it all caps as well. So I'm going to come over here and where's my text? There we go, all caps. And then I'm going to add a bit of spacing as well. So I'm going to go to my letter spacing and add a bit of spacing. All right, so this is my text and these are my buttons. And for this button here, I'm going to go in and say join now, like that. And then the second button here, I'm going to say try, or I'm going to say learn more. How about that? All right. So now that I have my two buttons, because we have a design system, I can easily go in, select my button, and then over here on the top, I can set this to secondary button. Okay, like that. And you can see it has taken the characters of my secondary button. And then for this one here, I'm going to go in and I want this muted. So I'm going to say neutral. Okay, because this one here is the one that has the message that I really want. So now that I have this, I'm going to go into my row settings now and then set my column into a content row. Okay, in fact, no, I need a text row, not content row. Okay, wide text row. Okay, so this text may be a bit too much, so I'm just going to call this Film Pro Community for, okay, Film Pro Community for video creators. How about that? For video creators. So at least this now explains what this is about, which is cool. The next thing I'm going to do is to select my section over here like that, and we're going to give this some padding. Now because this is a hero area, I'm going to go with a section extra large. Okay, so now it is nice, it's easy on the eye, and it does beautiful spacing. Okay, so I'm going to save this for now. Now at the later stage, I am going to connect this video to our own video. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to select this video here, and then we're going to go into our overlay and add an overlay image. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. I have to upload some files because I haven't uploaded any files yet, and I have these three. Okay, I'm going to say open, and there we go. So I have my three images. I'm going to choose this one here, upload. And now you can see that this design is really taking shape. So this is going to be our promo video, right? And yeah, this is going to be our promo video. I think that looks much better now. But of course we can have different layouts for our landing page. And I was actually thinking, how about I show you how to design a different version? Is that even necessary? I don't know. So anyway, let's continue on because we have a lot of work to do. So over here now, we're going to give this background a bit of color. So I'm going to go to background and I'm going to say background light. Okay. And then in here, remember, we chose a blurb. So I'm going to go in, right, into this blurb. And then over here on the top, I'm going to choose K blurb. So this now has a complete design to it. I am going to go in and add some text. So I'm going to use lorem 2 over here. So I'm just going to grab a bunch of text like that. And then I'm going to use this as my heading text over here. And then I'm going to go in and choose the paragraph text. So I'm just going to select this, copy, and then over here, I'm going to go in and paste it. Excellent. So now that I have this, the next thing I need to do is to add my image. So I'm going to come over here to image and icon, and I'm going to choose my image, and I'm going to go with, okay, let's go with this one here. All right. So now that we have our image, the next thing we're going to do is to duplicate this a few times. So I'm going to say 1, 2, and then I'm going to come over here to my group settings, click on design. Now over here on the layout, because we want our blurbs here to be side by side. So for us to achieve that, I'm going to come over here to the top, and in fact, I need to come over here to layouts and then choose row. So now we can see everything is now side by side, which is fantastic. Okay. The next thing I need to do here is to make sure I have some breathing space on my section. So I'm going to come over here. Instead of going for extra large, this time I have to go for large. Okay, because you want to use extra large everywhere. So at this stage, you can select this, go back to your content, go to image, and you can start swapping the images. So you can go with that one, for example, but then the size is not the right size. So let's change it. Okay, so let's try this one. Hopefully it's the same size. Yep. So that one's the correct size. So let's save. Okay, so far so good. We have our main hero area here, and then we also have this area here on the bottom, which is brilliant. Now, I want to show you a technique, or a trick rather, where if you want an alternative layout here, you can actually achieve that by alternating the design. So I'm going to come over here to the grid. I'm going to select my canvas, duplicate this. So I'm going to say duplicate canvas. And then in this canvas now, we're going to change the design completely. I'm going to get rid of this item here. And then I'm going to go into my section settings. Next, I'm going to come over here to background, and then I'm going to click this third tab here, which says background image. Okay. So we are going to add an image to the background by selecting it here like that. And then I want to say upload image. So now you can see that this area here has completely changed in terms of its design. So what I'm going to do next is to go in and make sure that my text is easier to read on this background. So I'm going to select my heading text. I'm going to come over here to display, to design. And then under heading text, I'm going to say heading text light. There we go. And then over here, I'm going to go to my label and I'm going to choose label light. There we go. So far so good. The only thing I need to do is to come over here now to my section settings, and then I'm going to change this to full. So we want this to fill up the whole screen. You see that? So now we have a totally different layout. So if this is the layout we prefer, we can actually go with this. Or if you prefer the other one, you can just stick to this one here. So it's up to you which one it is. But as you can see, we have great flexibility with Divi when we are designing. So at this stage, you can actually say to your designer, hey, which layout do you prefer? Do you prefer this one or do you prefer that one? So it just makes it really, really fun and really, really amazing for you to showcase, your work. So in my case, I'm going to go with this one here. Okay, I prefer this design. Okay, great. So the second thing, or the next thing we're going to do now, is to focus on the community. Let's build the community. Okay. So in order for us to do that, we're going to come over here and we're going to go to dashboard, and then we're going to go to plugins. Now, remember what we installed here was Fluent Auth and Fluent Community, right? So the free version of Fluent Community, it's limited in features. Okay, so at this stage, we need to go in and set up a community, a plugin that has all the features, which means we're going to need a professional version of this plugin. But anyway, before I do that, I'm going to name my community. I'm just going to call this Film Pro Community, like that. And over here, the community URL, what should we call this? The /. I'm going to say community. Okay. So at least people know that they are going to the community. So the next thing I need to do is to click on continue. Okay. So now it's asking me to pick a template. So we have basic, course, product, and blank. So I'm going to go with basic here and say continue. All right. So I have my email address here all set in. That's fine. I'm going to say save and finish. So right now it's setting up everything behind the scenes, and it looks like everything is all saved now, which is brilliant. So how about we take a quick look and see what this looks like? I'm going to come over here, hover over the domain name, and visit the community. So it's going to open in a new tab, and right now I'm not seeing anything. So let's see what the issue is here. I'm going to go to my portal settings. Oops. Oh, I think I know what the problem is. So what I needed to do was to change my community URL here. Okay. So I just put it back to portal because that's what was working. So now I'm just going to, go to my portal settings. So this is where I can go in and make further customizations. There's a lot that we can do here to customize our website. So over here, you can see it says default open graph image. So we need to set our image here, and it's 1200 by 630. So what I need to do now is to go to Canva and set up my image. So it's 1200 by 630. So I want to come over here and look for 1200. In fact, we might need to set up a new one, 1200 by 630, create new design. And then I'm going to upload a design. So I know I have some designs here in my downloads folder. So I'm going to come over here to my downloads. Okay, so I'm not going to spend so much time designing this. I'm just going to make sure that the image has the right dimensions and then just use that. Okay, so I'm just going to stretch this, make sure it fits. And okay, so I think that's about right. I'm going to say share and then download. And then over here, I'm going to make sure that I'm downloading the JPEG and then say download. Okay, so my image now is downloaded. So what I need to do is to come back and then go to the Open Graph image. So it's this one right here. Let me just double check. Yep. So I'm going to double click on that. And now my image has been set. The next thing I need to do is to go further down here, and it's asking me for my login and sign up. So this can use the login and the signups of the plugin that I set up earlier on, which is fine. So I'll leave that as it is and then hit save. Okay, so far what we've done is we've gone in and we've given our title and also set up our image over here. All right, so let's just make sure everything is saved. So the next thing we're going to do is to come over here to customization. So here you can enable dark mode. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can choose here. So for the media rich post layout, you can see I'm stuck with classic, and the modern here is set on pro. And to be honest, I prefer the modern. I also prefer the grid here on which is available in pro, which I cannot set up right now. Custom snippets, again, it's on pro. Now, the cool thing here is we can set managers, but again, we can't do managers because we have to be on the pro. Right? Features and add-ons. So we can add the follower module. So we can have people following each other in our community. Again, upgrade to pro. So I think you get the idea here. We need the pro version for us to get all the features that we need. So let's go ahead and I'll show you where the pro version is and how you can install it. So over here, I'm going to go to Fluent Community. Oops. Okay. So here we are on Fluent Community. Now, as I mentioned before, if you're to buy this, right, you can see these are the prices. So we have the annual. So for 5 licenses, it is $319. And I know right now you're probably saying, well, Mac, that is crazy expensive. $319. Well, let's take a look here. Do you see how much it's costing on Skool to create a community? And this is monthly. If we go over here to yearly, right, it goes down to 82 per month. But still, 3 months would have gotten yourself a Fluent Community. And you know what? On the lifetime here, if you want, you can even go lifetime and say, you know what? 5 sites, unlimited updates, lifetime license, $799. Now, if you were to design just one website, right, just one website, you can make this money back. That is how you're supposed to be looking at this. This is how you're supposed to be thinking about this, because at the end of the day, we're not designing our websites for charity here. We're designing our websites for as a business. So if you're a freelancer and you'd like to create a community, then you have to think about investing in the software. And over here, this $399 is for a single domain, but I highly recommend you go with this one. But as I mentioned earlier on, it has a payment plan as well, which is brilliant. And not only that, if you decide to go with this, I'm going to give you my design system absolutely free. So these are the prices of Skool. Now there's also another platform called Circle. So let's go to Circle.so, I think. Yes. If we go to Circle, it creates a community similar to what we're trying to build here. Similar, if you even look at the design here, it's very, very similar, right? So how much does it cost? Well, if we come over here to pricing, take a look at this. This is $199 per month for this package here. And this one is $89 per month, right? So still, if we go to Fluent Community, we are getting a bargain. If you don't want to go for the lifetime, that's fine. If you go to annual, it's still $319 per year for 5 websites. Yet over here, this is $1.99 per month, and this is just one website, one community. So it's a no-brainer. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at the pricing here. So you can either go for $159 per year. And by the way, I have a 20% discount if you follow my link. So I'll leave that in the video description below. Thankfully, I've already gone ahead and downloaded Fluent Community. So I'm going to go ahead now and show you how to install it. Okay, so what we need to do here is to go into plugins, and then we want to click on add plugin and then click upload. We're going to choose the file, and where is it? There we go. Fluent Community is this one right here. Double click on that and then click on install now. And now we're going to have all the features that we need for us to have our community running. Okay, so you're going to activate the plugin, and then the final stage is to enter my license key. So I'm going to go in here, add my license key, and then verify the license. And as you can see here, my license key has been activated, which is fantastic. Our license key is activated. So let's go back in and go to our settings and further customize things. So we were in our portal settings here. And pretty much this is where we get all our spacings and this is where we get all our customizations. And now we're not restricted. So as you can see here, I can go to modern for our rich media post layouts. And for our members list here, I can set this to grid. And then for our timeline, I think I'll leave it like that. And I think I'm good now. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and save settings like that. Okay. Let's move on to the next part, which is the managers. I can assign managers here if I need to. And all I need to do is to choose the manager. Now the manager has to be in the website already. So for example, here you can see Mac at Creative Astro is already there. So I can set myself as a manager, but of course there's no need to do that. So what you need to do is if you want to set a manager, you first add them onto the website or into the community, and then assign them the role of manager. And there are different roles, that you can assign them here. But right now we don't have any. Okay, so we also have our email settings. So from name, so I'm going to say Mac. From email address, Mac at creativeastro.com. Okay, so that I'm going to leave as it is. Then further down here, I'm going to go ahead and say save settings. Okay, features and add-ons. Now this part here is very important. If you want your members to follow each other, just like how it is on Facebook follow, you can set it up here. Okay, and then enable this module here. Okay, but you can also set this to be members only. Right, so let's go ahead and do that. So we also have user badges. I think badges are fine. If we go in here and we can add a new badge. So with these badges here, these are really cool because what you can do is if you have, let's say, levels to your community, like for example, on Divi University, I have Crafter Pro users. I also have VIP. They can have a little badge next to their name here to sort of like, distinguish them from the normal members on the site. So to create a badge, it's very easy. You go in here and then you can just choose any emoji if you want. So of course, there's a lot of emojis here, right? So I don't even want to waste too much time looking for an emoji here because I've just done this so quickly, right? So I'm going to go with this one here, the smiley face, right? And then for the badge, I'm going to call this member. Okay, so now we have our normal member. I'm going to say save, and there we go. So now we have our member badge. So if I want to add another one, I'm going to say this is a pro member. And then over here, let's see, what can I add as a pro? An emoji. Can I search my emojis? Not really. Okay, so I need to search for an emoji that works with pro. All right, so this one here has some cool shades. I'm going to go ahead and save. Okay, so we have a normal member and a pro member. All right, so let's go ahead and save this and then close out of here. So moving on, we also have a course module here. All that is enabled. The media module, I'll leave that as it is. I don't need to configure that. And now we have some of these other plugins here, which are also very important. So let's say, for example, you want to charge people to get on your community. This is where you need Fluent cards. It works like WooCommerce, but it is much, much better. You also have Fluent CRM, which controls all your emails. You also have Fluent Forms. In fact, we might need to install this. Okay. And we also have a Fluent player. So this is an advanced video player which supports YouTube and so on. So this is very, very powerful, and we can actually go in and activate our Fluent forms right here like that. And if you wanted to do support for your community, you would install Fluent support as well, but we're not going to go ahead and do that. So for our player settings, this is our video player. You can see here, there's a lot that we can go in and do. So I'm going to first of all enable the player like that, and then you can add your brand colors if you want to. So I'm just going to leave that as it is. Okay, I'm not going to do much here, and I think everything else is fine. Save play position, I think that's very important in case sometimes we have long videos. All right, so I think I'm happy with that. I'm going to say save. Excellent. So pretty much we are done with our main settings here. Let's move on to the next item, and that is our topics. So we can add some topics here for our community. So my first topic here is just going to be introduce yourself. Introduce yourself. Okay, so that's going to be our first topic. But of course, you know, we can add, you know, different topics, spaces. You know, we have this one here which says say hello. This is the default one. Okay. So I'm going to select that one and then save. All right. Space groups. Here is where we can work on our groups, but you know, sometimes it doesn't make sense if you're not seeing what we're doing. It looks like I'm just clicking things. So what I'm going to do is to open the community here and then show you what we are making changes to. So let's go to our main site, and then I'm going to say visit community. Okay. So this is now our community that we are building. So let me just clear things up again. So here, as you can see, this is the main sort of place. In fact, this is the feed. This is where all the activity is, right? So anything that happens here, you're going to see, you know, it's going to be noted here. If someone posts something here, so for example, you can see if I wanted to go in and post something, I can go in and give it a title. In fact, I'll do a demo of this in a moment because we're still setting things up. So here, get started is where we have these two communities. We have the start here and say hello. So if I come over here, you can see these are the two communities, the start here and say hello. So we can either delete these or recreate our own. So let's come over here and I'll show you. These are the ones. So they're over here on the group, okay, on the space groups. So we can either go in, get rid of these completely, right? So let's say I delete that one, and then I have to confirm that I want to delete it because these come in by default, right? And then this say hello, I'm going to delete that too, okay? And then again, I just need to go in and say delete, right? So now we have this group which says get started, right? So we can go in here, instead of saying get started, we can just call this community. How about that, right? We can give the description of the community here, and then I'm just going to click update. Right. So now the group is saying community. So what can I add in here? Because if I come here and refresh, you're going to notice that there's no spaces. There's nothing there. So we need to add our own spaces. So to do that, I'm going to click on this plus button, and it's asking me now, do I want a discussion space or a course, or I want to add a link? So I want a discussion space, and then click on next. So this discussion space is going to be a discussion space for filmmakers. Okay, so this is going to be a free community, or I'm just going to call this filmmaking community. So the slug is also optional. I'm going to go ahead and add that. The description, I can also add a description in here, but I'm not going to do this right now. So the menu group is going to be under the community. Okay. So here it's saying, okay, should this be private or should it be custom lock screen, right? So I'd rather have this private and then just have a default lock screen. But if we want to redirect them to a payment page, we can redirect them over here. So I'm going to leave this as a default. And then it's asking me here, who can view the space members? So I'm going to say members only and hit continue. And then over here, I think everything is fine by default. And then further down here, we're going to need a thumbnail photo. Okay. So the size here is 1200 by 630. I think I already have this one here. So I'm going to go ahead and select it. So it's this one here. Okay, I'm going to double click on that. And we're also going to need another one, which is the featured image, which is 1600 by 500. So we're going to come over here to Canva and say 1600 by 500. Create new. And over here now, I think I can search for photos. Let's see if we can find something for filmmaking. All right, so filmmaking. So I think this one here is quite nice, but it's a bit too extreme for what we're trying to build. Okay, I think we could go with this, but as you can see, the image doesn't look great because it's not showing a lot of information. All right, so let's try this one here. Sometimes this can take a bit of time, you know, if you are looking. Okay, let's get rid of this one and try this one here. So what I'm going to do now is to make this nice and big and make it cover the whole screen. And this is why I was looking for a particular image for that part. Okay, so I think this one works great. So I'm going to hit share and then download it. And then I'm going to download it as a JPEG and then say download. All right, so now that I've downloaded that, I'm going to come back and I'm going to say upload photo and I'm going to upload this one here. All right, so let's go ahead and create. Excellent. So now that I have this, let me see what this looks like. I'm going to refresh this. So you see, we started off with a blank page. Now we have this filmmaking community and it has one member. Now the cool thing is, remember this image that we've just added in, okay, the big one. Where is it? This one. If you now go to this community, yeah, you can see now it's nice and big and it is right there waiting for us. Isn't that cool? So already we have our community. So what we're going to do now is to make sure that our links are now working. We need to add this link here to our website. So this is the portal. This is where all the communication is going to be happening right here, right? And I can also go in here and complete my profile. So this is me. So that means all your members, they can come in here, upload a cover photo. So let's see what photo I have here that I can use as my cover. So I'm going to use this one here. I'm a bit lazy. Okay. So I'm going to use this one here as my cover photo. And you can see now that my profile page is already looking really, really cool. So here, my first name, I'm going to add my first name here, last name. I can add my bio. I can also add my social media links. Okay. And profile badges, I'm going to say pro member, and then I'm going to mark my account as verified as well, and then save changes. All right, so this is my profile and I can change this cover at any given time. So far, everything is looking really, really nice. So if I go back to the community here, this is the main community, okay, the filmmaking community. So I want this URL, okay? I'm gonna copy this URL and add it to my menu. So I'm gonna come back and we need to exit out of here, okay? Because I think I've covered everything that we need. Let's see. We also have access management, okay, enable Fluent CRM. All right, so we're going to come back and do those settings, okay? What else do I need, which is important here? I guess that's pretty much it, right? So I'm just gonna save settings here and then I'm gonna exit out of here. So let's go back to our main website. So I want to add the community over here. In fact, I can add it here to this button, or we can add it over here on the top. So to do that, I'm going to come back to the dashboard. So what we need now is to go to appearance and menus. So here we need to add a custom link. Okay. So we're going to come over here and this is the URL. And that's just the link that I've copied, which goes to the community. And then I'm just going to say community like that and add to menu. So now I have my menu here. All right, excellent. So I'm going to hit save. Now let's head over to Fluent CRM. So what we need now, in fact, let's just click let's go. Film Pro, I think is the name. So let's just set this up. So for those of you that don't know what Fluent CRM is, this is our email marketing and automation system. Okay, it's very, very important because it automates the whole process. So here it's asking for my lists. I'm just going to call this Pro list. Okay, and this one here is going to be for the free members. Okay, so we want to be able to give free access to some of the members and then give the pro access to the pros. Okay, so I'm going to say next. Okay, free member list, and then I'm going to say next. Now here we need to add our tags. So I'm going to say free members, and then over here, I'm going to say Film Pro. Now, in a moment, you'll know why this is important, because we want that when people sign up or when we add our pricing, they are added to exactly the right tag. That way, when we send emails out, we know exactly where to send our emails. Okay. So it's asking for my email address here. Okay, in fact, let me just go ahead and complete. Okay, so now that we have all this set, okay, we are very, very close to having a complete system now. So I'm going to say go to CRM dashboard. Okay, so here, this is where all the action is happening. This is my email marketing and automation platform. Okay, so remember, we installed Fluent Forms. So we need a way to get people to sign up for our community for free, because we have a free and paid. Okay, so if you want to add a free one, we can just add an opt-in form. But in this case, we want people to pay for our course. So I'm going to come over here to Fluent Cart. Okay, so I'm going to click here on Fluent Cart, and we are going to create our first product. Okay, so first of all, it's asking here for my country. So I'm going to go in and say United Kingdom, like that. Now with Fluent Cart, we can actually go in and change this to light mode. So I'm going to call this Film Pro. The currency is fine. I'm going to say continue. So now it's asking me for the checkout page, the cart page, receipt, and so on. I'm going to say generate all pages, because I'm lazy like that, right? And then I'm going to say continue, and then start from scratch. Great. So now I have a store on my website to sell my community spaces. I mean, my community membership. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that amazing? All right. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to say, let's go. So I'm going to add my product, and my product is going to be called Film Pro. Okay. Film Pro. Like that. It's a digital product, which is good. I'm going to say add product. So now it's asking for the descriptions. So let's go Lorem 2. So over here, I'm going to need a short description. So I'm going to paste my short description here, and then I also need a long description. So I'm going to go to Lorem 2, grab a bunch of text like that. But of course, in this case, you need to enter your own text. Okay, so I'm going to paste it. And what else do I need to do? Okay, over here, I'm going to add the price. And this course, this community is going to be, how much can we charge? Let's say $97 for the community. Okay, now if you have a sale price, it could be $147, and perhaps the discount is down to 97. Okay, so here it's saying downloadable assets. There's nothing to download. It's just access to the community, which is okay. And here I need to go in and add media. So this media I'm adding here is the thumbnail for my community access. I'm going to come over here, and I have an image already. So I'm going to say use this media and save. All right. So now I have the elements that I need. I'm now going to come over here with where it says more action. I'm going to say preview. I want to see what it looks like. Okay. So, okay. It needs an image. It needs a bit more information. So let's go ahead and hit update. And now let's see what happens when we refresh. There we go. So now we have our description here. We have our add to cart button, and everything is looking great. But you know what? We have a problem here. We have this sidebar. Okay, we don't need this sidebar on our design, because it's making our design look really, really ugly. So to fix that, we are going to go in and resolve that. So first of all, I need to change my status here from draft to publish. Okay, so that means that people can go in and purchase this item. All right. So I'm going to open my dashboard in a new tab, because there's a few settings I need to go in and sort out. So first things first, I'm going to come over here to Divi, and then we're going to go to the theme builder, because remember, we entered our theme builder here. So we want our theme builder here to work with certain pages. So I'm going to choose this particular one, which says pages, and then I'm going to go into the settings. So I want to target all my shop pages. Okay, so I'm going to highlight and say specific pages, right? I want this to be used on specific pages. And then I'm going to come over here. I want it on the checkout. I want it on the cart, receipt, shop, account, and what else? Account. I think that's about it. Yep, I think that's about it. Okay, so I can hit save. Great. So now that I save this, let's see what happens when I refresh this. Okay, so it hasn't changed. So I need to create another one, which is specific to the product. So I'm going to click here on this plus button, new template. And in fact, you know what? Instead of creating a brand new one, I'm going to duplicate this like that. Okay, and here it is. Okay, so with this one now, I'm going to go into the settings and I'm going to target all products. Do you see that? I'm going to target all products, products archive. Yeah, pretty much everything to do with the products here. Okay, there's no category, so I can't do that. Anyway, so that's fine. I'm going to save. And then over here, I'm just going to call this Fluent Cart like that. So at least I know what that's about. So it's a specific template, and that template is going to make things look slightly different on our design. So if I come back to this page and I refresh, look at that. Now it's changed. It's got the title here and I don't have the sidebar anymore, which is brilliant. Okay, so if I say buy now, it's now going to go to the checkout, and you can see my checkout here has this title area here, and I can go in and place my order and everything looks clean. This is really, really cool. Now I know I may be moving too fast. I know. But you know what? We're going to resolve this because I'm going to make sure that you have access to this video where you can just rewind and take a look at the steps again. If you're still having any problems, you can ask me and I'll do my best to show you how to resolve things. Okay, so far we've moved really, really far. You can see we've gotten to a page where we have a product. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go to that specific product again, which is right here. Okay, I don't need to show the whole shop itself. I want them to buy this, and that's it. So I'm going to copy this URL. Okay, I'm going to copy it like that, and we need to go to our home page, which is here. Join now. Now this button here needs to take us to that page, which I've just shown you a moment ago. So I'm going to come over here and then I'm going to go in and add my link. So if anyone wants to join now, they're going to go to that particular page. I'm going to hit enter to commit and then hit save. Right. So if they hit join now, they're going to go straight to that. And then the learn more is going to take them to, perhaps, I haven't decided yet where this is going to take them. Maybe it should take them to the community. How about that? So let's go back to our page here and let's go to the community. All right. So I'm going to copy this URL like that. And then back over here, the learn more button is going to take them to the community. But of course, they're just going to be able to see, but they can't comment. That's the thing. All right, so we are getting very close to completing our design here. Okay, so we have our community. We've added a way for people to pay when they've reached on the page, and then over here as well, we've set up our community, which is really cool. Now, here's the thing. You know that automation we spoke about where we had to install Fluent CRM, which is our email marketing automation? Here's what we need to do. So we have already gone in and set up a few things. So here you can see we've set up some tags. So we have a Film Pro and free members, right? So what we're going to do now, we want that when someone purchases this, they get a tag called Film Pro. It's very, very important. So how do we set it up? We come over here to Fluent Cart. Okay, so we choose our products and our product is going to be over here. We're going to choose this product, and now we have the integrations. Okay, so to add an integration, we come over here, we click on Fluent CRM, and then we are going to say, if someone purchases this, add to list. And we have two lists. We have Film Pro list. I'm going to select that. We're going to add a tag, and the tag is Film Pro. Okay. Okay, now we have an option to remove from lists. We don't have to worry about that. Enable double opt-in. No, when someone purchases, there's no need for a double opt-in. We want them to be added in automatically. So how is this going to be triggered? How is this going to work? Well, we want this to work when someone purchases. So we're going to say order paid is what is going to trigger all of this. Okay, so now we're going to say create Fluent CRM feed. We also need another integration. And this one here is for the community. So we want that when someone purchases this, they get added to the community right away. No wasting time, none of this, oh, I can't get access to my community. We want to do it automatically. So I'm going to come over here to add to spaces. And then here we have our filmmaking community. Boom. They're going to be added to the space automatically, and they'll be able to access pretty much everything on there. Okay, so if we scroll down here, we can mark this as verified, right? And then remove from selected courses, spaces on the refund. Okay, yeah, that's fine. They can be removed if we apply a refund. Okay, next it's asking for the event trigger. Again, I'm going to say order paid, all right? And then we're going to say create community feed. So now we have these two things working. That means that if someone pays, they're going to have a tag added to them. They're going to be added to the community automatically. I mean, this is really, really powerful, guys. Anyway, so now that I have this set, we are very, very close to finalizing our design here. So there's another aspect to Fluent Community, which is very, very powerful. And that is if we wanted to go in and add some courses or specific training, we can actually add it within the community. And this is what makes this very, very powerful. And I love this feature. All right. So to achieve that, so at any given time, if you want to go in and add anything to your community, you need to come to the bottom here where it says Fluent Community, and this is pretty much your settings. The other way of getting there is to go to the community itself by going to visit community here, and then on the bottom here is where we have the settings. So if you click on settings, this is where we have access to pretty much everything. So if we want to manage our courses, I can go ahead and create a course. So this one here, I'm going to call this Filmmaker Pro. Filmmaker Pro. So that's going to be the name of a course. And the slug, I'm going to leave that as it is. And the menu group, it's going to be under the community. Okay, the course is going to be under the community. I want to set this as published. And if I scroll down here, it's asking me, is it self-paced and so on. Public viewers can view the lessons without enrolling on the course. Do I want to do that? No. Disable comments? Nope. Hide students count? I'll leave that as it is. And then for the course layout, I'm going to set this to modern. And for the thumbnail, it's saying 1200 by 630. So this is the course thumbnail, by the way. So I'm going to add the course thumbnail later. I'm going to go ahead now and create. Oh, the description field. Where's the description field? Oh, okay. So let's go ahead and just call this Filmmaker Pro. I'm going to do the same here. But of course, I'm just being lazy here. But in your case, you need to go in and add all the full details. Okay. I'm going to say create. All right. So now I can start adding my lessons. So I'm going to say add lesson. So section title, we're just going to call this module 1 and save. And now I can add my lessons. So I'm going to say add new lesson. And then here I can add my lesson title. So I'm just going to call this getting started. Add an edit. So now I can go in and add a video. So I'm going to click on this plus button to add my block. So this is going to be my video block, and I'm going to add a YouTube video for now. I'm going to paste it and embed. Okay, so I have my own YouTube video here. I'm going to save. If I need to add a description or some text under it, I can always go in. Oops. I can go in and add some text here if I wanted to, but I'm just going to keep things very simple here. I'm going to set this as published and save. Now, if I need to view it, I can click here on this little eye icon, and you can see that you can easily view it. But there's a few things that I can do here as well, and that is to set my width. So I can say wide width, make it nice and wide, or I can even go in and say I want a full width. All right, so it's up to you how you want this to look. So if I save this and then I come back over here and refresh, this is what it looks like. I mean, I actually prefer this, to be honest, because then the viewer can view, you know, the full screen, the full width of this. So here on the left side, we have the Filmmaker Pro course, and then we have the community. So this is the community, and that's the course. And you can see here, it's saying module 1, getting started, and you can enroll in the course. Okay, so if I click get started, we have our course. Isn't that cool? So we have our community and we have our course. Now in the community, if you wanted to add anything in here, We could say, okay, let's say I want to just greet everyone here and say hello everyone. I can add emojis if I want to by coming over here, which is cool. And this is where I can add my update. If I want to add a video to go with this, I can just go in here and paste my video. Now check this out. The video has this beautiful player that we installed a few moments ago, and I can also send the announcements to my email members, and this is where Fluent CRM comes in. So as you can see, I can post this. In fact, let's add a bit of text here. I'm going to say welcome to the community. You see what happens when I try to type very fast? It's crazy. I mean, I hate typing, you know. I actually need to learn how to type. All right, so I'm saying hello to the community. I'm going to post this like that, okay? And if someone wants to respond to this, they can go in and respond to my comments. And if they want to bookmark it, they can bookmark. And if I need to pin to the top, I can pin it or delete it. So now all my members are able to come in and communicate and ask questions and all that good stuff over here. And if you want to go to the spaces, this is where you can see our filmmaking community here, which is this. Our courses, this is our course. Of course, I haven't added a thumbnail to the course, but this is our main course right here. If I click on get started, you know, we can get started here. And this is where our members list is going to be. So with our members, I can go in, I can set this to blocked, I can send it to pending. I have so many things I can do here. We also have a leaderboard. So this is where the person that communicates the most or whatever it is, they can have a leaderboard over here, which you can see, which is, I think, pretty cool. So this is going to be our main feed area here, where we're going to see everything that is happening. So as you can see, this is pretty cool. It's a straightforward website, but you can actually use this to promote this to your existing companies that you're working with, or you can actually pitch this. So for example, here, join now. If I click on that, it now takes us to purchase this membership. Look at that. Right? And if I say learn more, it takes us to the community itself to see what is happening in the community. And it is very, very easy to set up. Of course, right now we are logged in. Otherwise, I would have shown you how to log in. And over here on the dashboard, if I click on dashboard, this is our inner dashboard, and we can go in here and add any links that we need to any part of our community. So this is how you build a community website. Of course, I would need to show you how to set up the emails, but if you are interested in that, I can do a separate video. Just let me know if you need to know how to set this up. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. And yeah, I hope you appreciate what has gone into here. If you need to support me, go ahead and buy me some coffee on diviuniversity.com. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Take care.